Hi Leo, welcome to your end of August 2022 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. Pick an additional card. Okay. The heart of the matter is the Nine of Wands. And this is kind of a wary position to be in, where you're kind of like that guard at the gates of the kingdom. Not sure if you have anything to protect, but not taking any chances. And this is really a card about boundaries, about what kind of things are you tolerating that you have to put your foot down about. Sometimes, if this is someone that you have either let go from your life or who has exited your life, and in retrospect, after that has happened, you breathe a sigh of relief and you feel like you kind of dodged a bullet, that was actually a good thing that you're no longer with that person, and they come back, or you have some kind of sense that they are thinking of trying to get back with you. You are understandably wary of that, and you're just kind of like guarding the gates. But in other active relationships, it can be setting boundaries about what you're willing to tolerate. And what flashed in my mind is, if you're a Leo who has Virgo, Venus in Virgo, this is one of the lessons that you have to learn anyway, where you have to become more I was going to say forceful, but that's not the word I'm looking for, more assertive in terms of your relationships, and not sacrificing too much of yourself for somebody else and creating a one-sided relationship. Not to say that we can never do something for somebody else and not expect anything in return. I mean, that's how it should be. But you know what I mean when I say sacrifice. I mean sacrifice your well-being. You don't want to ever do that. In the past position, we have the Two of Cups. And so this is that card of reuniting. But it doesn't mean that the person has done so. Maybe a person has reached out to you, and that could be a possibility. But, after the initial glow of that, you might be having second thoughts. You might be having doubts like, oh my God, am I just about to do the stupidest thing ever by even thinking of this? And, thinking twice about something is never foolish. It's a lot better than jumping at the chance of doing something that could be absolutely horrendous. Because if somebody hasn't changed, if you broke up with someone, there was a reason for it. And you should always remember that, unless there is something that really indicates that that person has for sure changed. And sometimes you're not going to get that verification. So there might be this sense of like, oh, maybe this isn't going to happen as I thought it was. Maybe it's just going to go right back into the old crap. And that you're, kind of a born romantic, Leo, so you want to make sure. And this can also apply for work situations. If you were laid off, or some kind of situation where you stopped working somewhere and now they're asking you back, initially you might say, oh, wow. And then you think about it and you say, well, wait, we've got to have something different is going to have to occur. The higher message is the justice card. And this is really about looking at the situation from this position is about the higher perspective, and the justice card is about fairness. And it's possible that you were in a situation that was unfair, and maybe it was one of those things where if it was a work situation that you weren't allowed to do what somebody else was allowed to do, they got away with it, you got grief for it. Maybe it was unfair pay compared to other people doing the same job. Um, Maybe you felt like someone in the workplace was favored. If it's in a relationship, things like, um, somebody not giving you the same kind of consideration that you give to them. So that's why I say a one-sided relationship. And that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for a relationship that is one of equals, where nobody is being exploited, or in the workplace too. Nobody's being exploited, nobody is being taken for granted, and both people feel honored and cherished. That's not too much to ask for, and that's what we should be shooting for. What crosses you is the Four of Wands. This is the card of the happy home. You can see the home in the background. The number 4 relates to foundations. It's connected to Saturn, so it's no surprise that in astrology that it's connected to the home front. And wands are fire signs, or fire energy. Aries, Sag, Leo, all fire signs. It's all about freedom and enthusiasm. Okay. Now, when we think of family, I don't think a lot of people think of freedom, and especially not fire signs. I'm a Sag myself. We kind of think of the family and the home life as being pretty restrictive. Even if you're someone like a Leo who loves children, maybe if you don't have children, you're hoping to someday, but at the very least, you may have inner planets in Cancer, which would make you more eager to have that kind of lifestyle. But you do need freedom. You do need to feel like you don't sign away your individual rights, your individuality, if you're in a relationship, if you're in a marriage. But I think that the real thing here is about being able to walk into your home and not dread it. Or if you're like at work going, oh no, I have to come home now. And that's kind of like in the challenge position, you may not understand that. You may not like really appreciate that this is front and center of what is going on here. That if a person does not have a sense of feeling like they are safe, that they're able to do things that they want to do, that they don't have to change who they are to fit into anybody else's life, then they will be more happy in that environment. But if they feel like they have to kind of deny who they are, that's going to be a problem. So if you are currently in a relationship and you're currently married or living with someone and you dread going home, this is one of those situations where you may be kind of almost like daydreaming about another relationship that's going to be so perfect, and maybe somebody has come back into your life and you're hoping to line that up, but you know in your heart of hearts that you can't be sure about that. That's why the Nine of Wands is there, if that's kind of what is going on. Because sometimes when a person is unhappy, they're kind of trying to escape that unhappiness by some kind of a fantasy where everything is perfect. And that kind of thinking is not going to get you where you want to be. You have to deal with the matter at hand, and you have to be able to do so in a way that is going to, lead to concrete change that you're looking for. What's coming in is a Six of Cups. This is a great card because it's a card of things connected to the past. But the past isn't necessarily happy for some people, but in this case, it's looking at childhood in a very positive way. It's looking at those connections that you have. It's also a card of children, so if you have children and you're anticipating seeing them, it could be something like that. Or if you want children even, that could be a concern or something that's on your mind. And that definitely relates to the person that you choose. But this is a card of soulmates. It's connected to Cancer. And so obviously, I mean, it could be a person of that sign, but it can be that desire to fulfill something that has long been a goal of yours, that might be something that you've always known. Some people, like for instance, with twin flames or soulmates, they know that there's this person out there that they're destined to meet, but they aren't sure, is this the person who's it's supposed to be? I remember reading someone say like they would have dreams. It's like so amazing that people have these experiences and they really feel strongly that they're meant to meet a certain person. But it's possible that this is someone that you've already dealt with in the past, and that's why it's right below the Two of Cups, which can be about reuniting with someone. And so in some cases, it might be that you're in a current relationship that where you're always left to feel like you have to watch your back. Oh, and the Justice card too, it's important to note, can be about a legal matter. So I don't, the reason I didn't particularly talk about that is because the position that I picked it for is more for the spiritual message, so I don't always read it like literally or interpret it literally, but it can be something along those lines where it's dealing with some kind of legal matter, and maybe that is going to set you free. Maybe you feel this sense of like you have to be dealing with a certain situation currently because you're waiting for a divorce, and it's like you're watching your back while you're waiting because the other party may not be happy about the situation. But you could feel very strongly in your heart that this is the right thing to do. And it always feels great when somebody takes action and they feel confident that they're doing the right thing. The outcome is the Five of Wands. Now, I did pick an additional card because this card can indicate some kind of conflict. And really what it means is, to me, is that in order to get to that place where you want to be, where you have this peace in your life, in your domestic life, for instance, Leo, you may have to go through the fire. You may have to go through some kind of battle, and it's right under the Justice card, so it might be a legal battle. But the bottom line is that, just like they say it's easy to get married and it's hard to get divorced, and sometimes it can feel unpleasant because of the emotions that are brought up from this sort of thing. But if you keep the high road, if you take the high road, then you're going to be in a much better position, because you're going to be approaching things, um, looking at the future instead of wallowing in the past. And you may be, I mean, and you may have an easy time doing this actually, Leo, because you may be like ready to deal with this other person, and you don't really even care about what has transpired, because you're so into the what you're anticipating in your future. So I picked an additional card, and I got the Two of Pentacles, which is kind of, and we could say it's a little bit ambiguous, but in general, this can be something that is connected to having to juggle two things. So, for instance, let's say that you are getting divorced. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about this, Leo, but you just had that full moon in Aquarius. So, that might be the end of this committed partnership that you are kind of having to, or maybe even a divorce finalizing, and you have to take care of your children and then also go to work. And it's like, it feels like a juggling act, and it might feel like there's a lot on your plate all of a sudden, when you used to have another person to kind of help you along with that, and you're kind of have a lot on your plate. But remember that to get to where you want to be, you might have to go through a little bit of conflict first, but you can get there. And if this is work related, you might be working two jobs temporarily while you're waiting to start your own business or something along those lines. And I think the business that somebody would start at this time would be something that they've wanted to do, sometimes even from childhood. Okay, that's what I have for you, Leo. I hope that this resonated. Happy birthday to you late degree Leos. And I hope that the rest of your month is awesome. Take care. Bye.